Synchronize your watches, my friends, because it's 7 UTC just about every single day. HKL pushes out of their pass and tries to plant some flags. In this video, we're going to showcase one such attempt where HKL plants flags, rallies our flags, and we rally them back. We'll show some of those rallies and all the good field fighting, so stick around for the open field big brawls that you like to see. Hello, my friends, and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, a sponsored content creator for Rise of Kingdoms, and today we get to showcase some big brawl, open field battling with dozens upon dozens of players duking it out with multiple marches. If you like Rise of Kingdoms guides that help you get value and smash your enemies, consider smashing that subscribe button for daily Rise of Kingdoms videos. It is literally 7:34 UTC at the time of this recording. I'm pretty sure I recorded this on my iPad in bed right before I was going to go to sleep. I've already pushed the maximum amount of kill event points I'm supposed to get for our Nebuchadnezzar Mightiest Governor at the time of this recording. And yeah, that's a thing that we're managing very closely so that all the right rally leads can get their access to Nebuchadnezzar. So for the first part of this fight, I'm going to be watching the action. In the second part, I'm going to jump into the fray. And you can see I'm like looking at my kill event points. I was actually on voice, kind of negotiating with the guy organizing it. Like, hey, let me in there, coach. You know, like, let me in there. Now, I'm garrisoning something with my Zenobia here. Although we've taken out the flags that were connected at this exact moment in time. I do have some footage of that, but I feel like this portion of the battle was much more enjoyable to watch. So let's observe some things that Kingdom 30 with HKL, the Ark of Osiris Season 2 champions, what they do really well. And one of the things that they do very, very well is grouping up and focusing targets. I am so confident that they are in voice together, communicating, clearly discussing who is getting hit, and everybody, boom, focuses them out. Boom, focus the next target. Boom, focus the next. And it is real, and it is powerful, and it is meaningful, and it gets the job done. Because unlike Ark of Osiris and Ark of Osiris League, where you actually might want to have a couple troops left behind in the enemy's march so that they can't go back to their city and bring out a new march, you just want to beat the snot out of literally every march on the field and take them until they're completely gone. Eliminate them from the field. And you deal more damage and get credit for more severe wounds when that target gets lower and lower because your ratio of troops to theirs becomes more and more favorable. So HKL does this very well, where you'll see they pick a target, they focus it down, and it's just gone. And if you charge in or your march goes out of position, it generally gets into some pretty fierce trouble. So you can see we're looking at our kill event points here. We're on voice with Abe talking about like, hey, how much can I push without potentially making Negan climb some more? And I think we ultimately arrive at the decision that like, Negan can deal with it. He'll climb more. He'll figure it out. And so I'm going to start to send some troops onto the field. So now's the time where we're going to do that. I am going to leave my Zenobia garrison in place. And the marches I'm going to bring are going to be a Martel Herald, the Guan Alex. I believe I'm also going to bring my Saladin William, which, by the way, if you watched the Ark of Osiris League Grand Finals, you know that, yeah, that's a march everybody was using in that big brawl. And last but not least, my Edward Esong for just the big damage beatdowns. The big damage beatdowns from that Edward Esong. And if they don't focus me, man, they are in trouble. But spoiler alert, I'm going to be a little bit too aggressive in this video, and I'm going to get myself into a spot of trouble at least once, at least. And I'm not trying to get like too many KE points here, but I am trying to get into the fray and do some work. So here you can see we're setting up our skills that we're going to use here. And I have to say this aspect of Heroic Anthem, like it's really cool that you can add additional skills on the commanders and you unlock them using bastions and all that stuff. But it is a little bit of a pain in the butt to have to set different presets for garrisoning and for field fighting. And then you go to send a march out into the field and you have your garrison out and then it's got skills that you would have used for field and you got to clear them and reset them. Kind of a pain in the butt, but we've almost got our marches ready and in the field. Not to mention the equipment, which, by the way, can we please get away to have equipment presets? There's the Guan Alex. Beautiful. Time to do some work. We've got a solid city skin. At this point, I've got a peace shield on because I was battling earlier in the evening. I parked my city for just like a 30-minute period and then came back, and then this was still going on. And so then I was like, all right, I'll get back into this. I'll get back into this, and here we come. So when you're approaching an enemy that's got this big front, as you see here, the thing you want to do is work from the outside and start to pick folks off. If you were to make your way either behind the line or into the middle of this fray, a coordinated group like HKL is just going to, boom, kill your whole march. It's just gone. It's just completely gone. They are picking the marches that are out of position, and they zero them out. That's what they do. And they do that very, very well. It's not a coincidence. We need to be doing the same thing, and then also by virtue of really being aggressive in this front line and doing a lot of damage to those marches, being able to push them back because they feel pressured. So step one, we're going to start to clear out some of these folks back here, and then we're going to push our way into the fray with our marches, presumably. Where are you going, Chisgule? There we go. There we go. Oh my gosh. There's the flag, by the way. There's the flag that they planted, and they're on their way out, trying to battle their way into the sun. And they actually used their craftsmen. So they had some very fast flags building earlier. I don't think this one still has craftsmen, thankfully. Thankfully, this one doesn't still have craftsmen. Their craftsmen wore off by the time this was happening. So now we're going to make our way down and offer some support here. And we're going to cut across to try to support this player that's stepping away from the battle. Hopefully they jump back in and engage here. It looks like they're not going to, but that's fine. We've got 4 full health marches. The thing I need to be careful to do, and I actually navigate that very well, is to not get caught by all these marches back here surging forward. So I get very carefully, avoid, I guess, getting hit by all those folks, and then I pop back in on this march on the side. Because I have large marches here, I can be a little more aggressive, being sort of on the front line here and kind of cutting in. And that's what my role should be, right? My role should be more toward the front line, or at least pushing the bounds of kind of what we're doing, because if anybody can get hit, certainly I can, although archers are not immune. And sometimes what I do is I will, for a second or two, retreat my marches and then, boom, send them back in so that I can pull enemy marches back onto our side and they get swarmed out a lot more easily. So you can see here, one of my marches was 3x surrounded. They decide better, they turn around, and they now are going to be trying to keep this lane of flow of troops open so they can get to their flag and battle in the field. That's what they're trying to do, and what we need to do is cut off the reinforcements to this part of the field without ourselves getting completely surrounded, and that's the risk. So if that whole group kind of charges in right over here, then we'll get surrounded and completely wrecked. So we got to actually kind of come back out of that situation and work our way down, which is what's taking place here. And we're going to very, I think, carefully focus folks out. I actually have not disconnected this Heroic Anthem KvK. I can't imagine I'll be particularly happy when that does happen. Right now, I've got like 1.5 million, I guess, yeah, almost 1.5 million T5 troops on the field. I mean, I'm obviously going to be pretty disappointed if I disconnect and those marches get completely beat down. So now we're moving our way in. There we go. An Ethelfled, finally. Let's commit here, Chisgule, to smashing somebody. Ethelfled's a fine hit. I've got my march ready to retreat, and I'm not retreating them just yet. And that's a tactic that you can use, by the way, to be a little bit quicker. Rather than waiting until you actually need to retreat, have your marches selected and then just release your finger to have them sent back. And this is where I get a little aggressive. I'm 6x surrounded right now. Bad situation. Bad situation. Very likely overcommitted to this part of the battle, and I get in some trouble. Exactly what I was describing, right? It looked like I was being too casual earlier. It looked like I was being non-committal. And this is why. Because I've got how many players here focusing me? No value for me in this. 0 value. I actually kind of get wrecked in this exchange, to be perfectly honest. Like, I smashed some marches and I got some decent counterattack, but I just have to full retreat. They roll me. Pretty good, actually. That's like pretty bad for me, how that worked out. Unfortunately, like, we got cities on the front here that are in the wrong alliance, and they're, it's the right alliance, I guess, for the main coalition, but the wrong alliance for me to be able to hop through their cities. So I just eat that, have to walk back, heal the hospital. What does that cost me? Let's go see what that little bout cost me. I did have some troops in the hospital already. I had about 40,000 troops in the hospital already. So it wasn't too bad. That could have been way worse, but you know, like, gosh, 60 plus thousand T5 troops, and there's a repair bill for almost no value there. You can see I didn't gain many kill event points there. Is sort of a bummer. I'm watching closely to make sure I don't pass Negan. And the rally has already been set, by the way, on their building flag. Rally is going to be Guan Leo. We're using a Guan Leo on their flag that's building, and I am not the captain of this flag, and I can't actually swap it. I guess I'll make a call for that in voice chat to get that swapped around. But we've got to get back into the battlefield, back down to this part of the action. And I really think that one big takeaway from this whole thing is that we really needed to train more troops for the Mightiest Governor and allow the people who trained more to get their placements that way rather than trying to have people not participate in the kill event to make sure they don't go over on points. You may have noticed, by the way, that our rally had cavalry in it. So we're talking about that on voice. People are frantically going through. In fact, I think I'm going to go through now and try to kick this player out of the rally. It's 2020. People still join rallies with the wrong troop type. It's a little astonishing, but I think it's a reality. I still very, 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 very strongly feel that it would be a lot more fun if when you set the recommended troop type, that only the recommended troop type can join a rally rather than any troop type. But that's a whole separate topic. I know there's a lot of people who think it's a huge display of skill to send the right troop to a rally, and they would rather deal with the pain of kicking people who can't figure out how to do that than and have no one deal with that pain. But whatever. I digress. So now the rally's in. It's getting swarmed aggressively, and Leo kicks in a high gear when he gets below 50%. He starts doing a lot of shielding. And this Guan Leo, I mean, we'll show you the report at the end of this. This Guan Leo is going to do ridiculous amounts of area of effect damage to folks. I mean, absolutely ridiculous. And no doubt, the YSS Theo that's in here is hitting some folks from our coalition as well. So I think those folks start to reposition and not be free kills for the garrison, which that I think is certainly a better showing of skill or not, is knowing to avoid that area of effect damage. We bring a march down here to reinforce the rally. Again, trying to not get too many KE points. I just bring a march down, and I'm like, all right, I'm nearly going to pass Negan. Let me just get some infantry by this rally and see if I can rein it. I can't, even though it looked like I could for a second. It's already full. And this rally is going to stay nearly topped off. We've talked a number of times about why it's so important to keep a rally topped off. Absolutely critical. And now we're on our way into the rally with nearly 400,000 T5 infantry. Let's freaking go. Let's freaking go. Boom. I think I'm actually going to bring a second march down here to get in on this action. And I'm going to leave the rally at one point with my Martel and rejoin with another full infantry march. If I can make my way into the rally, we had some great reinforcing going on. This is a building flag. And a building flag we should completely wreck. I actually was expecting them to garrison with Zenobia. I was astonished they did not garrison with Zenobia. There's really no question about it that A, Zenobia is the better garrison, and B, for a building flag especially, you really want to use Zenobia, who heals troop. A building flag can only have one march per player in the flag, whereas a normal flag, you can have as many marches as you want from any number of players in that flag. So you really get a lot of value by healing the existing troops that are in the flag in a way that you normally don't. But here they are using YSS Theo, which, as it turns out, is not a bad answer to the Guan Leo. And I will say that HKL in Kingdom 30 does a way above average job, I think, keeping this flag, this building flag, topped off and in a pretty healthy position. And yeah, we were kind of scouting it as it was going along. Not us personally, but the kingdom. As a kingdom, we were scouting and reporting in voice. They did a pretty good job keeping it reinforced until toward the end when it started to get low. And it's just very hard for people to effectively reinforce. But I'll point out that HKL has the clear lane, and they do a really good job of keeping that lane to the flag fully open. This is, I think, the afternoon for Kingdom 30 and their local time zone. And again, for our kingdom, this is like 2 or 3 in the morning, which is a pretty awkward time. No excuse there. I'm just pointing out that this is some really great activity from them at this moment. And we've got solid numbers, but like, you know, not enough to totally dominate the field at this exact moment. In HKL, like I said, you could set your watch to it. Like, they're going to push out of this freaking pass at, 7 UTC pretty much every day. Like, I could pretty much set my alarm to it and have something to record and really cool for tomorrow's video. Hopefully now that pass, I think it's 5, no, maybe pass 5 is opened. There's some other stuff to go and do and building to do. And I'm hopeful that maybe this front will chill out so we're not teleporting back here all the time, but we'll see exactly how that goes. We've got our second march in position here by the rally, ready to reinforce it yet again if we can. And we've still actually got about 100,000 troops left in our Martel march in the rally. I actually could just leave it in there and that would be completely fine. Abe is actually getting great reinforcements in his rally at this point. His Guan Leo has great gear on it. He's got good skills selected for that. So he's in a good position to take this fight, and we want this to go for as long as possible. Like, a building flag is generally, it's hard to not get a very positive trade, or even just a little bit positive trade, which actually is going to be the case for us right up until they end up having to do a captain swap because their captain gets beat down. And that is one of the intricacies of a building flag that perhaps we should talk about. Unlike a normal flag, where, I don't know, for some reason it feels like this is maybe less necessary. In a building flag, there's so much damage being dealt and so many new marches coming in that it feels like it's more necessary. Maybe I'm making this up. It's more necessary to have a backup captain ready so that you can replace your captain when that march gets completely destroyed, which definitely has happened on occasion, and I think is going to happen in the middle of this encounter, or maybe I guess really toward the end of this encounter, because when we look through the report, you'll see that there's a moment where they've got the wrong captains in place, and it just goes very positive for us when that happens. And maybe the reason they're using the YSS Theo is in part because, like, they just didn't have a Zenobia on. I mean, I know, like, we're not even countering the healing with this combo, actually. The Guan Leo does not even counter the healing. So we're spamming to try and get into this rally, not successfully, by the way. And look at that. Look at all this AoE damage. I mean, they're doing a ton of AoE damage to the marches nearby. In fact, I am inclined to believe that they may have gone positive in this whole exchange once they get a look at the number of troops that they killed from area of effect damage. But that's sort of a survival of the fittest moment there. Like, players that don't fully understand to stay out of the AoE of a flag will learn that, and then hopefully they don't repeat that. Oh my. Oh my. All right, we're about ready, I think, to get into this flag, but it stands so topped off because the garrison is so low. I will point out, however, that HKL still has a clear lane for reinforcing here. So all they need to do is just keep bringing troops into this flag, and if they want this thing to build, it will build. And I think that maybe they're just, like, not feeling like that's going to be a successful operation. I don't know. Here comes another march reinforcing the flag. And the other advantage of a YSS Theo, by the way, is that YSS Theo doesn't care about the troop type. I'm even battling in the field with my Guan Alex because there's somebody there. So I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'll hit somebody while I'm here. Keep our area clear for reinforcing while staying out of the AoE of the flag, by the way. And boom, we're back in the rally. We're back in business. And this flag is now in some trouble. This flag is now in some serious trouble. That AoE of the Guan Leo, just look at all this AoE damage. Look at all this AoE damage going on. Totally wild. Boom. Also, our march is getting hit by AoE damage from our kingdom. Oh, yeah. I mean, this sort of stuff is pretty fun to watch. It's also pretty fun to watch in hindsight to see kind of what's happening. Because at the time, like, people kind of celebrate when you see a positive report. But when we look here and see the number of folks from our kingdom that are getting hit by area of effect damage, I mean, if you're going to be in the AoE, be swarming the flag. Otherwise, don't be in the AoE. You're taking deaths for basically no value. But We are getting a good bit more control now of this field. And because we certainly now have control of this field, I mean, this flag is in some serious trouble. I think I'm bringing another march down just in case the rally needs the reins, but I don't think it's going to. I think this rally is going to get the job done. We see the marches now getting depleted. Marches now getting depleted on their way home. I do like the Theodora combo, too. I do like YSS Theo as a combo. I think that now that we've got Zenobia Theo running all over the place, it's a little bit dated. But honestly, people use that in this KvK, and it was fine. Now that Nebuchadnezzar's here, that might be a different story, but it was totally fine. More marches get knocked out of this flag. I think there was a captain swap. Now it's getting surrounded. So there's also going to be some damage not represented in the report. There's the captain. Okay, captain got beat down. That's what I'm talking about. You're going to see this in the report. And we're going to go like positive and a 5-for-1 ratio from this right here. Because the captain got beat down and there's not a replacement. That's a huge problem. Huge problem. March after March getting sent home. You can see the level of commitment here from HKL is huge. These are all separate players that were in that flag. Boom. Flag down. Now we got to go look at this report and see what the heck just happened. Also, I think our marches are on their way home. They are. They're on their way home safely. All right, let's get a look at the report and see what took place here. Look at all those marches in the flag. Huge. 752,000 for us, 5.6 million down. They lost 9.9 million power and 915,000 dead troops for them. What I found in this KvK is that I think Kingdom 30 has a lot of T5 players, and we have more T4 players. So often in these exchanges, even when we potentially are going even on the kills or losing on kills, sometimes we end up winning on power, not only because of folks going to the hospital, but because the volume of, or I guess the power associated with those T5 troops is very, very high. So the power loss is higher, I think, for their kingdom. And I think that's a part of their intention from all these shenanigans, by the way. They wanted to leave Imperium. They have. I imagine they're going to do a lot of recruiting. They're putting up a huge fight against us, in part because I think they want it to be showcased that they're very coordinated and very skillful, which they are. Here we are cruising through this report, and you can just see the volume of AoE. I'm sure their report looks the same way, right? Where they hit a bunch of people with AoE. But the volume of AoE here and the number of wounds that were inflicted by this rally is pretty freaking massive. And then, okay, there's only a resource cost associated with that. I get it. Some of these marches, by the way, will be swarming the rally, which we'll get a look at in just a second. Tens of thousands of troops. In some cases, hundreds of thousands of troops are hitting the hospital. And we'll see a couple. There we go. 205,000. That player must have been swarming the rally. Mistakes were made. That does not go well for them. 75,000 dead troops over there, that look like. I mean, yeah, swarming a Guan Leo. I guess they're more swarmable than other things. There's the Saladin swap. We just passed it. It was 23,000 dead for us. Yeah, I noticed it. I'm like, wait. What was that? That's when it was a swap because their captain died. Saladin Khan became the captain. So they lost 2.3 million power. We lost 180,000 power. 250,000 troops for them and 23,000 for us. Pretty crazy. This whole thing was a lot of fun. I mean, I've got to hand it to Kingdom 30 for being a really fun kingdom to battle against. I'm very much looking forward to our next pass opening. And they have been messing with us in this zone nonstop. Okay, let's make our way to the present day, and here is what you see. It's quiet now, but at 7 UTC, is there going to be action over here? I suspect there will. There has been literally every single day. We're making our way into a new zone now, but HKL has been aggressively pressuring us in this zone over here, random teleporting, taking out farmers. We've been imprisoning. You do not want to miss the crazy action of this KvK. If you haven't already subscribed, consider doing so. Throw a like on this video. If you want to see one such imprison and rally situation, I've got a card up in the top for where that took place, and more video coming very soon where we're imprisoning folks and rallying them down, hoping for a 0. Until next time, my friends, you have fun smashing the kingdom.